It's been a while. We don't have party
Well,
jams today.
I know.
Welcome
I'm
to.
the sales replacement for party jams. With that, I mean I'm the depressed replacement for party jams. My name is Nava. I like drugs.
Hey, it has been 16 seconds since you made a drug reference. That's great.
Let's
Uh,
go. I
let's see if
wanted to
this
be in
gets
the first one.
monetized.
I wanted it to be in the first second, but you didn't give me room to speak, so that was a small
No,
problem
no,
of my
not at all.
entire.
I wanna keep the YouTube AI guessing. Speaking of AI, there's going to be a lot of discussion about that, unfortunately, today. Uh,
Ugh,
Because god
sad.
damn, since it's been since March since we made one of these, it is now June 3rd. Happy Pride. Um
Woo! Happy Pride! If you're a guy, go suck a dick. Do it for us.
um I
But
don't
no,
know
let's
what
be
our
serious.
analytics skew anymore. I'm hoping that there's no minors hearing that. uh,
If you're 14, go suck the dick of another 14-year-old.
okay, that actually was better than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have to hit the dead man switch.
No, I would not. What the? First of all, no, Vex. Your thoughts are your thoughts. You don't need to share them with us.
Listen, I've heard you make worse jokes than I've made before. so,
To be fair, I'm the worst person of both of us. But that's why I am going to defend the corporate side in this discussion today.
oh boy. Um,
Because I think it's important to look at it from both sides. So I will take the evil side.
you're very good at that. So,
Thank you.
um, I don't know where to start at this point because I feel like we always start with like layoffs or technology catching up, and I'll let you choose as the co-host today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would also like to start with the layoffs, as they didn't decrease contrast, they increased more and more, especially now with more and more studios closing their bought up indie studios. Like Microsoft is closing more and more indie studios they bought up in the past. The same as Square Enix, for example, with the Square Enix Collective being closed.
Yeah, and the Square Enix one we've been discussing off camera for a while now because it's an odd one because it's a conglomerate of like little tiny stuff. But the most recent thing that's being advertised is Power Wash Sim, but there's been games released by that group after
And
Power Wash Sim,
and
which is
they
so
are
weird.
getting zero advertisement, and then people were shocked that Square Enix is going to like label all those people off. They had zero advertisement. People didn't even knew those games existed, even though they were under the name of Square Enix.
Yeah, like I had heard of them being announced as stuff like Summer Game Fest or like
And
E3 back when E3 was a thing, but I just assumed they never came out yet. And there was quite a few of them that actually were, and it's very bizarre the choices that were made for this group of studios. I understand the Power Wash Sim was like this indie darling that really captured the limelight of a lot of people, myself included, because I find it like a super relaxing game, even though you don't
yeah, I just
understand it.
don't like simulator games in general.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
Um.
think it just Power Wash Simulator just caught the attention of streamers who used it for just chatting, so they have something in
Mhm.
the background, and that's how it got so popular, and that's
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah. Like
But all the other games were just forgotten by Square Enix themselves, and now they're laying all those people off.
I
And
mean,
I
Square Enix has never really been the greatest at promotion unless it was one of their big titles either. But this
not
was just like
even those titles had not
more than
stellar
this.
promotions. Look
Yeah.
at the blank weeks we got for almost every game to like 1 month prior to its release, where we got everything at once. Kingdom Hearts 3, the Final Fantasy remakes, Final
We got
Fantasy 7
spoon
remake.
fed like Kingdom Hearts 3 over 15 years though, so I mean it was
Well, we
always in
got
the
15 different side games, but no news about Kingdom Hearts 3.
that is very true.
And
Here
Um,
is a graphic teaser trailer game with best girl in it, Aqua. That's like a 40-minute goddamn game. And you can put cat ears on her, but it'll still be
but
3 more years before you get Kingdom Hearts 3.
I really liked 0.2. I thought it was a fucking hilariously good game. Like, no jokes, it was fucking fun.
It was.
But like, I think but why I wanted to start with that topic is a broader thing. We saw more and more AAA companies buying off indie companies and indie tech teams, and
Mhm.
and it's clearly visible now that the only reason they bought it was because the company wouldn't want to give away their IP.
Yep.
And that's, I think, why the people were bought up. And now the contracts are running out, and most of the companies that for teams from which those companies are being laid off were all bought to run at the same time.
Yeah. The thing is, it's the same problem we had in Hollywood, right? We were very much interested, as the entertainment industry as a whole at this point. It is very IP focused instead of, project focused. We
Yes.
see more and more safe bets being made for the film industry. We even saw recently, like, it was posted on our Discord. I think it was Party Chance that actually posted this, that Pixar is going to be taking less and less risks. And it was originally like the risk taking studio, right? It was the one that was
Yes.
doing all
It,
the crazy shit. But
that was its name. Pixar was. We are the ones who break the norm, who are going to risk everything.
mhm. And like
No.
literally, if it wasn't for like one employee having a cut of Toy Story 2, like there would have never been a sequel to that film, right? And it was
Yes.
solely because there was backups of backups of backups. Like there were days of work loss, but it wasn't catastrophic. But there's also like we're losing that human element when we throw everything into that like corporation, machine of
And
just sheer propaganda. Like, hey, look at this thing we bought from like 6 weeks ago, and then over here we got like, oh, look at this studio that we bought. We own the rights to the game. It's literally like the industry has turned into that one character from Smiling Princess, my IP to sit on and do nothing with.
yes, yes, completely. And I think you also spoke up a good topic, like risk averse. How more and more companies are just not willing to take any risks.
It
Um,
just sucks.
and
Like,
but I think we should also, from a corporate perspective, the game development compared to like just 10 years ago is not just twice as expensive. It's almost 10 to 100 times as expensive as 10 years ago. And that's just something we need to remind ourselves.
yeah, it's
Like,
it's
uh,
unfortunate because we don't
so the
really
risk,
need
yeah,
to. I don't think we
we
need to
don't need
have
to.
like $200 million development cycles like we see with
No,
fucking Spider-Man, right?
yes, I completely agree with you. I think the best titles were like indie companies that didn't have like a million or so. And that's the thing. Companies are getting more and more risk averse because they put so much money into a product.
Mm-hmm.
And look at all the games, like from AAA companies, they all have zero soul in them anymore.
Oh God, yeah.
They all are the same.
Like it is walking simulator in a setting with a couple cutscenes hiding loading times, and it's unfortunate because like I love the God of War remakes, right? Like the
Yes.
2018 and then Ragnarok. But like I even have to sit down and realize like, oh, we're doing the same exact thing that every Sony title has done for the last 10 years basically, right? Because this trend started with Last of Us. And
Mm-hmm.
like as great as that game is, it also didn't need to have a remake.
Or
Like,
two remakes.
yeah,
And a remastered.
yeah,
And to be
no,
released on the fridge.
right. Like we didn't need all this shit for The Last of Us, right? It was a great game, My fucking god, we don't need Naughty Dog to sit there and fucking bukkake all these fucking titles of The Last of Us out, and then on top of that, cancel the fucking live service multiplayer that they were spending half of a decade on. You know, that far into the development cycle, just to be like, oh, that team that was working on that project, yeah, they're going to work on The Last of Us Part 2 remake as like cleanup crew now while we decide to do the rest of our next project.
It's a bit off topic, but I just opened like the Naughty Dog Wikipedia page. The last game they released that wasn't Uncharted or The Last of Us came out 2005 as in Jack X Combat Racing. Since then, they only released the Uncharted and The Last of Us games.
It's depressing, isn't it? It has been since 2005 that we've had a Jack and Daxter title. And before Jack and Daxter, I think that there wasn't a fucking thing that Naughty Dog did other than Crash, right?
Crash and Crash games were good, but then they sold the license to Activision.
Right, but like Crash Warped was the last thing they did before fucking
Crash Team Racing.
Oh, CTR was under them too? Okay.
Yes.
I thought that was after they sold the rights, but I was also a fucking child when those games came out, so...
they came up before I was born.
Jesus Christ, you literal fetus.
Fuck you.
Listen, age will catch up to you eventually too, my friend.
Age caught up to me. Look at
I have been up for... I have been awake for 35 minutes. Okay, it is 5:11 p.m.
I realized we wanted to start half an hour prior to our start.
Oh shit. But here's the thing, right? Just to jump into the next thing, because we're on this topic. Luke posted this one, and I'm very happy to see this one. Very contrary to what we've been saying, is the KOTOR remake is alive and well. Saber Interactive, which I believe was also affected by layoffs recently. I'm laughing because I'm crying at this point. There is no other fucking reaction left. This industry is unfortunately fucking cooked.
Yes. I think layers are horrible and funny at the same time.
Like, it's mostly Embracer Studios at this point that are being affected by this, because when you have one corporation ruling over 70% of the game industry, you're going to have this, because you let fucking hedge fund investors play with video games, and now all the fucking market is correcting itself, because spoiler alert, it's expensive to even go out of your door at this point. We don't have the luxury of having the ability to buy 18 different games like we did during COVID, right? We saw that massive expansion in this hobby, and that's what it is. This is a luxury hobby. I hate to say those words in regards to this, but gaming has always been both a luxury and a hobby. And when you have a bunch of people that crunch numbers for a living, buying up studio after studio because they decide, like, oh, this is the thing that's going really well during COVID, let's invest in that. This is what happens. And Saber Interactive was one of those studios that got scooped up during that. They're famous for doing a lot of ports and remakes. Most recently, I do believe they were involved in the Battlefront remakes for the classics, if I remember right. I'm going to check that wall.
List of Saber Interactive games. I have it already open.
Good, because my phone doesn't want to recognize my fingerprint.
Warhammer was the latest untitled Painkiller title. Before that was Star Wars, Rails of Fury, A Quiet Place, Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come, that was the Switch port, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Nintendo Switch port.
Okay. Battlefront.
I'm also only looking currently at the release titles, not the ones currently working at on this list. What was the after? But yeah, I always am happy to hear that some teams can still work on a passion project.
Mm-hmm.
And Saber Interactive, it started as a passion project, and it still feels, their games still feel like a passion project.
Very much so.
Like Call of the Cthulhu port for Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, like ports are very important too, right? Like I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not important.
I think they are more important. All right. I think ports are more important nowadays more than ever. With like with more games are just not being playable anymore. With their only digital release, like Nintendo 3DS Shop, which is not accessible anymore.
I mean, there are ways to get into it.
No, there are for legal reasons. There are no ways.
Right. You just gotta skirt the lines of legality. But like, I feel like studios like that are very, very important, like you said, because like accessibility is very hard for a lot of these titles. Look to Prototype 1 and 2, where you have to have like a whole ass workaround to get it running on modern systems. Even though the game is only like 13, 14 years old at this point. And then like
I can give you a good example.
So ugly.
Yeah, go on.
It's so ugly on modern systems, man. So
I think a recent example would have been like with the 3DS store. Fire Emblem Fates Revelations is unplayable anymore because it's like Fire Emblem Fates was like split into 3 stories.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was only available as DLC.
Yep.
Have fun. Have fun. The store's down. You can't. It's impossible to play this to experience the whole game anymore if you don't already had it beforehand. And this is why we need like more and more ports, especially like on newer consoles.
Yes, very much so. It's weird because like that is one of them that I would have assumed would have been like still accessible, because if I remember right, it was a free DLC as well.
No, $20.
$20. Okay, well maybe it does need like some sort of licensing rework. Like that would have been why they wouldn't have preserved that like Pokemon Bank.
No, Pokemon Bank also wasn't preserved. It was switched to a different server.
Yeah.
And to a different app. But just the thing is, if they wanted to port it, they would have needed to port the whole game, and the intelligence systems is being owned by Nintendo.
Yeah.
There are zero licensing problems even. It's just they didn't want to.
It's so strange.
That's the sad truth. Yes, I think it's just a big problem that new consoles are not allowed to run older console games and shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, we can't even play. This is something I discovered recently. You can't even play, like, 3D Blu ray movies in your PS5, or you cannot play a regular, like, music CD in your PS5 without paying a license fee.
Yes. That's the worst thing, the worst change in, like, consoles. Not even gaming, they're currently talking about consoles, and I think that's the worst change they had in, like, recent years.
Right, like, it's got to the point where, like, you are literally, I hate saying it, like, no matter what console you're fucking playing, you're playing basically a PC at this point. I mean that in the most literal sense, because even the fucking default, like, media player no longer exists on your computer. You have to go and download that. You want to play a fucking Blu-ray?
My PC doesn't even have anything to read CDs.
No, mine didn't either. I bought it.
My modern PCs are not meant to be able to read CDs, so you can't watch any Blu-rays and other shit.
Yeah,
that's all is just dying out. It's a dying breed. That's sadly the truth.
Yeah, I literally bought one just so I could media dump, so I could preserve a bunch of my older DVDs, because it was getting to the point where, like, I was afraid they would end up getting disc rot. And I'm like, well, I should back these up. So I bought that. And then I found out, like, AMD doesn't have the ability to, because there's some sort of contract with Intel. They can't register Blu-rays on an AMD processor. So I had to build a whole other, like, micro PC just to dump my fucking Blu-ray collection. This is like the fucking equivalent of like privilege right here. I built like a cheap ass fucking computer just to dump my media into a fucking server.
That sounds so relatable.
But like
I have
you and I both are very much on the side of preservation of media, so I figured it would be
yes.
a funny thing. Um,
Um,
did
what
you
was the
see the
topic
one
before
about
that?
like? Did you see where the Roblox CEO was saying like they would pay kids to work for them, but in like fucking Robux?
That is not work. That's not children's work, alright? Let's be true, let's not slander that. That's officially this in quotations mark, not children working.
That's not child labor. They're just coding our game for us. Relax, guys. They get a free digital gift. We're definitely not putting kids in the mines.
Imagine if you
Imagine
work
being
in
Roblox and saying shit like this.
imagine literally how absurd that is. Imagine you work in Amazon and rather than giving you a check, all of
They
your
give you
income
free
would be
Prime.
transferred. Everything of your income if you work at Amazon is being sent to your Amazon account, not to your bank.
Uh,
That's how that is.
yeah, literally. I throw hands. Like it's ridiculous. It like I understand that kids understand kid humor more than adults. I understand that 100%, and like Roblox is really just a kids game. Pay the fucking kids in real money. Like if they're doing work on that, real money, not digital currency. What it is they don't want to fucking admit like
they
they're
they don't
completely
want
fucking.
to do because of a paperwork and for legal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's like almost impossible to do that.
Yeah.
That's the thing,
What they
especially.
got to do is they got to start an LLC in like Alabama where child labor is legal again.
Yeah, but then Roblox is not accessible, or that part of Roblox is not accessible in like other parts of America or other countries in the world.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm the non-American here, so I need to speak I will argue globally, the
Yeah.
global standpoint.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, like the education system in Alabama is also like 49th in the country, so having them coach your game might not be the best idea.
um,
I
maybe I should start. I should move to Alabama and open a school there to like teach people how to, I don't know, think.
yeah. You know what? You're probably better off doing that than most of the people that live in that state.
All right, my first subject is why is Dark Souls one of the best gaming franchises ever made? This is the thesis on it. I expect
And
a
with
1,000 word
that,
essay from all of you.
and with that, we're going to retire the gaming podcast because we've devolved into Dark Souls.
Everything is Dark Souls.
I mean,
Because
with you.
From Software hadn't any layoffs, and it's a privately owned company, as all good companies should be. But yeah, let's change the topic before I like start talking only about Dark Souls.
Yeah,
Like,
because it will be like a 10-hour podcast on why this particular build is the best build.
oh, fuck you! I won't talk about builds. That's like everybody can do their own stuff. It's your story. Make it as you want.
Wow. Wow.
I
I'm
am the
actually
person who
shocked at that.
I am the person who runs around naked without a fucking shield because it just hinders me. Like, not even sound hardcore. Running without armor makes just the game easier in general, with a faster roll.
You know?
Um,
I don't know because this has been clarified, so we can just skip past it. I was scrolling through this. We officially have emulators on the iPhone, which is a great step forward.
woo!
As somebody who recently got an iPhone for work purposes, it was really nice to be able to sit back and play Pokemon Emerald on my iPhone because let's face it, everything ends up becoming Pokemon once you start emulating. And I will say Delta runs really well on there, which I had never even heard of Delta. I don't know if it was a popular one. Because I'd always use like GBA random bullshit or just threw everything that I played on stream through Dolphin for the most part.
Delta initial release from Delta was 2019, so I have never heard of it.
Yeah.
Literally the Apple release for it was the first thing I heard from it.
Yeah, so like it's interesting to say the very least. I never thought that day would come at all because Apple has always had like this closed garden for their network, but they realized like no matter what, people were going to still jailbreak their phones and try and circumvent the system. So they just decided, fuck it, we'll just.
I disagree. I disagree. That was not the thing why they allowed it. I think they just saw the money that makes.
You know what? That also, and let's be real here. Money is the very thing that Apple lives on.
Everything lives on money nowadays. The layoffs are mostly just to save money.
You're not wrong, but like Apple in particular has this really interesting culture of like, if you can't afford it, fuck you. You had $200. You had $200 wheels for your Mac Pro. So
well, in Apple's defense, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, but in Apple's defense, that is their brand.
Yes, very much so.
That was their brand since they were created.
Yeah,
it's
and
the brand of being a luxury brand. Not everybody can afford me.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that there is any issue in having a luxury brand, like, and I say this as somebody that's currently wearing a Kingdom Hearts 3, cutoff T-shirt. Like literally, it is 102 here right now, and I'm sweating balls because if I turn anything else on, I might overload my breaker.
For everybody, me and Bex are huge Kingdom Hearts nerds, so expect a lot of Kingdom Hearts references if it's only us two.
No, literally. It's funny because like I've had this shirt since launch. I cut it off when I was working in an old manufacturing job. Kingdom Hearts 3 came out like 2016, 2017.
I was in 11th grade when that came out.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Was it 2000? No, yeah, it was 2018, I think.
I'm too fucking lazy to pick my phone back up.
3 initial release was January 25, 2019.
2019, really?
Yes.
Can you tell the years kind of blend together at some point?
But to be fair, we had COVID in between.
Like,
COVID started in 19.
There's no way that game came out in 2019. Hold up.
No, COVID started in 2020, yeah, but I remember, or end of 2019. I remember my classes being like, yeah. When I'm a college dropout.
Fucking excuse me?
Why don't you believe?
I refuse. I refuse to believe it's that recent. Holy shit. What?
Kingdom Hearts 3 came out in the last 5 years. That's insane.
Everything is coming together. All of the days are blending. Please release me from my mortal coil. What the fuck? Holy shit.
But I think we should go already back to the main topic that gaming has the last months, the layoffs, and the big part of the layoffs, except for money, is of course AI.
Yeah.
And how AI is going to be now being used in gaming and how it will evolve in gaming.
Well, let's focus down here. This means the next quadruple A title from Ubisoft will be the best thing in gaming ever.
Allegedly.
Like, did you see that tech demo of their wonderful, Gemini AI that is poisoning Google?
We do not talk about Gemini AI, right? We have taste here on Kontrolled Khaos.
Like, at least use ChatGPT, my god. Like, please. Like, at least it would be comprehensive and, like, its discussion pattern, not gibberish saying, like, Reddit lolcow bullshit.
Uh, yes.
Like, you can throw glue in the fucking pizza sauce and that'll make it all creamy. Says the random one-off NPC in Skull and Bones 2.
And but yeah, how what I would like to talk about is how it will impact development itself, and how it only the layoffs. As long as I often hear that it only started, and I'm still saying we still haven't reached the peak. I think this was just the first wave this year, and I really think all of those companies will have a second wave end of the year.
I mean,
AI
even
being more
insiders,
advanced.
even insiders were
Yeah.
saying this is just the beginning to kind of focus
Still.
down. Like, and it's
Yeah.
not just exclusively the gaming industry that's having this shift, right? It's every industry. We're seeing even music production take on AI to do interesting things, to say the very least. Do I believe it's a good thing as somebody in that industry? Absolutely not. I think it's fucking stupid. Because taking out human element in something as impactful and art dependent as music, you end up with generated bullshit like that fucking Plan Z song, right? Or the fucking Family Guy covers you see on TikTok. Like, taking out the human element makes everything sound like mass produced. And I'm not saying like we don't have that in things like pop music already, but there's at least soul left in it.
On that topic, after I was recording, I will send to you a video where I want to hear your reaction to it. Where some YouTube musicians react to AI creating songs and like human creating songs, and they need to guess which one is which. It's almost impossible nowadays, where AI can even reproduce like part of us, like the human soul nowadays. And I'm talking about AI creating lyrics and everything, not just like cover.
Yeah, I mean, I toyed around with it. I've mentioned this in a couple of
Yes.
podcasts. Like, I toyed around with like what they would interpret lyrics as in the vein of a certain artist, right? But like
It's insane.
It's interesting because like from when I tried that to now, like you're right, like it is incomprehensible. Like, you can't tell the fucking difference, and a lot of the shit. It's scary how fast this technology has advanced. And both of us having backgrounds in IT, it's also we have a unique perspective in understanding that there is a need for technology to advance, but it's being utilized the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm always like defending the place where technology should advance even at the cost of like workplaces, as they are going to create more workplaces. Especially like in AI, I have a lot of my old like college mates working at companies that produce and develop and help improving AI. Like it produces more and more workspaces,
It
but
just
unlike it
changes
did
the
in
focus.
yes, but unlike it did in the past, to adapt to those new workplaces is almost impossible. While in the past, where we had like new technologies reducing workplaces, adapting to them was a lot easier and like to get back a similar position. Now this is almost impossible to even adapt to that space.
Yeah, well, there was a difference between like going from like a paper system for like records to putting in an Excel sheet, for example, to now you need to have 8 languages and a fucking master's degree in all of them. And some of those languages have only been around for a year, so how the fuck are you gonna have a master's degree in that? You know?
They are around for a year and we had zero documentation because someone created that language drunkenly in his mother's basement.
No, that very much how a lot of like programming languages have been created.
No, literally, a bank in Germany has its own programming language, and there are only like 2 people left alive who understand that languages, and they earn around 900K a year for 1 day of work.
Yeah, like the
Because
system.
they are refusing to teach it to other people.
Yeah, the system we used at one of my former jobs was originally in-house. So they were the only ones that actually understood it, even though they originally, like right before I started there, they sold it as like an enterprise software. So our single IT guy for that company that lived in Canada had to go around to different fucking states just to teach people how to use the software. So his job went from like, oh, I made this software in house because I was bored one day and got tired of cleaning up paper records, to clearing like 250K a year just teaching people how to use this fucking software. It's crazy.
Yes, and that the difference is now with AI. Have fun learning, understanding machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's even harder than learning a different one programming language for a lot of people.
God, please do not take me back to machine learning classes. I fucking wanted to die on those.
It's the reason I dropped out.
Here is Python 4. You didn't take Python 1, 2, or 3. Go crazy. And I'm like, shouldn't these have had like prereqs?
And I think that's the to go back on main topic. I think that's the biggest problem I have with AI. It's not adaptable. People are adapting to it in the workforce is almost impossible for most people who are being replaced. Like graphic designers, it's sad to say, but half of graphic designers worldwide are already being fired.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the year, I don't think a single company is going to search for more graphic designers, except for like indie companies who are going to advertise themselves with this human element that they still have.
Yep. I can see that being a thing, because we're already seeing like the advertisement slop that's being put out now from a lot of companies where they're using, like Midjourney and even just shitposty, like dubbed over things on TikTok and Instagram Reels. Like, here's a screenshot of our website with a funny caption on it, haha. Instead of like having any kind of actual like discernible logo, discernible like branding on it, other than, oh, this is directly from this company's website, and it's got a fucking meme audio over it, and that's how most companies are advertising now. Like, look at Opera GX, for example, on Twitter. That's gonna be the type of branding you'll see for like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, with maybe a human-made logo, and that'll be your marketing. And that's what most graphic design was used for at this point, was just A, having an image, and B, having a presence.
Yes. And with gaming, it will not just end with like the designs. For I expect, for example, games like not to hate on them more than I already do, but for example, Genshin or any other like gacha game from Asia, using AI created designs for their characters. I expect that to happen, become the norm in the future.
Well, I mean, they have a style, right? And they can feed their own art into a fucking generator and be like, well, you guys like femboys? Well, here's femboy number 86.
And for Genshin, for Hoyoverse, it's even cheaper to produce that, as they only have like 3 or 4 different human physiques that the machine needs to learn. It's literally just the same body with different skins over the top all the time.
Literally,
if they didn't change it.
Like, there's no body or build diversity in Hoyo games. You're right. Like, you have small tiny girl that has cannon that is 5 times the size of her. You have femboy twink. You have mommy that will step on you, and you have mommy character that is very stoic.
You literally, the thing that I dislike in Genshin is, look at every like tall size person, like from especially like the main characters. You have like, this is the tall man design, this is the small man design. Women, you have this tall female design, small female design, and then this is like the body, and we just put a different skin on this fucking same 3D body we have already pre-made.
It's crazy, right?
That really took me off, because like everybody has the same fucking physique from that. Look at Charles and God, whatever.
Look at look at Nikkei, for example, right? The jiggle physics simulator. Same thing. It's just you have different boob and butt sizes, right? That's the
Yes.
slider for them. Any gotcha game has that same issue, I think. Wuthering Waves, I haven't dove too deep into it, the new one. But even it has like generic femboy, generic fucking mommy character, generic tiny small child character.
And
It's same.
yes, that's Fate is a lot similar. I think Fate has the difference is Fate has a 2D design that is always made by an artist, and the artist is advertised.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always like in game you can always look at who was the artist, and then you have this like in game avatar, and it's the same.
Mm-hmm. Literally, like
Uh, Literally, and I think I will take, especially like in those who wants to create it cheap and don't advertise the artists, will take over. And we need a character from this region. We will give those the information from this region to this AI, and they will produce a character design for us. Maybe in 1 year, even they already give a finished character in 3D as a model out.
yeah.
And I think that is going to happen, in my opinion. And
I
the
mean,
question,
will it
and
will it
so
move
more,
from like I gotta think like will it move into things like Nintendo and will it move into things like fucking like Konami? Well, Konami will probably adapt it pretty easily because they'll be like, oh, we can shit out more pachinko. Um,
Konami is 100%. Konami has zero. We know zero of the artists who make the Yu-Gi-Oh artworks for like the cards or shit. So Konami doesn't need anything else. They like already know like we never reveal who made this artwork. So who cares if it's AI or not?
yeah, that unlike Magic where like you have the artist credited usually, or
Yeah, and
always.
a lot of Magic and D&D artists, both is from Wizard, are already being scrutinized for using AI to like as an extra tool to skip it on workload. They are already being attacked for using AI at the
Yeah,
start of the year.
yeah, I remember that. It's as somebody that uses AI to clean up audio occasionally, like I understand using it as a tool, right? But I don't think it should replace your art. I feel like you should still put the work into that. But I'm also not an artist, so I don't understand that side of the thing, right? I'm not
Me
going to
neither.
try. I'm not going to try to pretend to understand it. I've seen a lot of people like, "Oh, you're using it to clean up in between frames." Cool. I've seen, a lot of people be like, "Oh, you're using it to like add this filter over it," like on Spider Verse, for example, right? Like they did use some AI on that, but not in the generative variety, right? And I'm
And
like,
I think
okay, cool. That if it's
you've
helping not have so much crunch, use the tool that's being given. But the
I think
second, like
you've
you,
said the best thing. Generative AI
mm-hmm,
is. I think we should separate AI between like those things that are being used for.
mm-hmm,
The biggest problem, the only problem being like generative AI.
right. Well,
Like
AI is being used as like the giant buzzword of the week, right? Where
yes,
everything
but
AI is bad, and
it's all
no,
different, and we should look at
exactly.
first as things as different. Like EA came out and said like they want to include a lot of AI into their games to like crunch on time, and that was a big topic in our Discord chat between me and Partisans, especially since you were um, away from video keyboard, as we like to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
And like I said, I think it's interesting. I really like to see AI, for example, in NPCs to have them more like adapt to the world and everything you do.
Right.
But until like was like afraid for like AI, most likely they mean like generative AI,
With
as EA only said
EA,
AI, and we already were like on different perspectives on like what kind of AI they mean.
with EA, I could see them using generative AI though.
Oh, they are going to use everything AI.
Mm. Right, and then
On
they're
that
going to
note,
charge us like an additional $45 a month to add like.
we don't talk. First of all, EA and Ubisoft are just insane.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to sell games anymore. They want to sell subscriptions. Because
Yeah.
game subscriptions are the new great thing. The same as live service games. That's a whole other different topic, which I don't want to go into because I fucking hate that idea.
Like, I don't have issue with live service if it's done properly, right? Like,
Properly doing things properly. I rarely have problems with, except open world games.
But like, you have a
Okay.
difference between things like Multiversus, which just came back, right? Where you have 4 different fucking currencies for a free to play game, right?
Yes.
And you're it's shoving that like splash screen right in the face of your fucking players. Like, hey, we changed all of these things, which I'm glad that they're like very transparent and like we changed the things, right? Because a lot of people that played the beta were confused. But like, you don't flash that at the fucking start screen, right? Especially in a game that is licensed IP that a bunch of kids are going to play, right? Whereas
Yes.
like Fortnite offers a subscription service to where you could have like the battle pass given to you for a small fee. You get the first reward from the battle pass for free when you are locked into that. You get a skin that's exclusive to that club for free, or a different variant of said skin depending on how many months you've been subscribed. And then you have the option to buy the other stuff in the store. But the game itself is always changing. Some very good, some very bad. The last season I personally think was dog shit. This season's a little bit more fun because you're watching the pros fucking rage at it, because you can't just build around the fact that the cars in this Mad Max style fucking season just destroy everything. You got that going on. And I love watching Ninja throw a tantrum on Twitter because it's dog water because I can't just build around it and crank 90s.
That's I think a great different topic for another time. Like, should developers design for like the pro gamers or more for the casuals? But that's another topic for another episode.
But like,
As someone who is more like a hardcore player.
Yeah, but like you see things like that being done really well, and then you see like fucking Rainbow Six Siege 8 years into its fucking life cycle being like, hey, by the way, we're copying Fortnite now. Here's a $9 a month fee, and you get like all these rewards and preferential access to the vault for old gear. Please give Ubisoft more money. They definitely need it.
Destiny 2 is also, I think, a perfect good example for like a bad live service game. Or like current Modern World of Warcraft, also like a great example. And just it's like every company now tries to like create more live service games,
and some of them retroactively, right? Like,
yes, and that's like I'm questioning myself. Why do you people see so much money in live service games? You're also risk averse, with live service games being one of the biggest risks you can take.
Right, like you see so many cases of these games. I feel like the old boomer podcast of like so many cases, but like it's literally like the last 18, 19 months of gaming in general. We've seen like 12, 13 of these games just get completely shuttered or delisted, right? Like Square Enix and Platinum Games had Babylon's Fall. We had Avengers get delisted. We've seen Battleborn. We've seen Gigantic come back somehow. We saw Paragon come back in 2 different varieties, and both of them fail. Like, it's ridiculous to think that people want a billion different live services when those are like a grind.
And something, especially since I asked myself, is like, have they forgotten how Consume works? If you bring out 10 different live service games out, I'm not going to like choose one of them. I will be overloaded with like decision. Choice paralysis is a thing, and I will go back to the basics, which I know I would, like Final Fantasy 14, for example.
Right, like,
and that's what happened. Final Fantasy 14 has the biggest growing spike it ever had.
Well, I mean, we also had a expansion just dropped for 14. We just had an expansion drop for Destiny 2, and it saw a spike. It didn't see like.
And how much of it dropped again after like a month or so?
The DLC just came out, so give it a few weeks.
We will give it a few weeks. We come back to the next episode. But like Final Fantasy 14
I'm saying that as somebody that just reinstalled 186 gigs of Destiny, and I want to fucking shoot myself.
But Final Fantasy 14 is always continuously growing, and with like all this choice paralysis, people will go back to like the old classics which I know are good. It's like everybody's releasing an energy drink, so you will buy Red Bull.
Yeah.
And
I say as I just ordered my monthly case of Red Bull.
I have a subscription on Amazon's going to be delivered next week.
You did what I did. You're just like, fuck it, I'm too lazy to go to the liquor store. I'll get us a subscription on Amazon.
And that's a huge problem. They like see everybody does it, they jump on that hype train. And that hurts the train more and more. And
look to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League for the most recent example.
Literally most recent example. And I just think sometimes the companies only do that so other rivals.
Can I tell you a very guilty sin?
Sure.
I bought it for $29. It is dog shit. It is like the worst. It might be the worst game I've played this year. And I say that as somebody that loves the Suicide Squad. That was 3 paintings of a fucking particular game. You have 3 different mission types, and they're all terrible, and you have to repeat them over and over again for 80 fucking hours.
Sounds like Final Fantasy 16.
But I enjoyed Final Fantasy 16 because the combat felt good. This was just generic. I shoot the gadget.
Like, Final Fantasy 16 in general is like, I hate that more and more people make include like an autoplay into their games. Can we just quickly talk about that? And how it's like the worst decision developers can do. Looking at Final Fantasy 16 being like a great bad example of it, I completely agree. If you put an auto battle into your game, you just say that you don't believe into your own gameplay that you put into this game.
I don't disagree to an extent. Because we had this topic in the server, and I'm glad you're bringing it up, because I think it was the next thing that was down my list of things to scroll through. You're talking about the autoplay feature that Sony was patenting, too.
Autoplay, Sony patented a skippable feature for like a lot of game sections.
And I understand the necessity from an accessibility standpoint for some things.
I don't think it's accessibility features anymore at that point. If you take away the play, if you just skip gameplay sections, if you skip the game part of a gameplay, it's nothing.
Right. And this is where the technology really needs to be tuned to what the game is, because I see the logic in it, especially if you're like replaying a game, for example. Because there are parts of Fallout 4, and I'm dreading that I'm going to be streaming this in a couple of weeks.
Oh, just say you want to skip fucking Atlantis and Kingdom Hearts.
You can choose to skip that. It's automatically a skippable world. I don't know.
It's not a mandatory world, not skippable, but it's not a mandatory. It's an optional world.
Right,
that's the difference.
Yeah, like you can skip it in Kingdom Hearts too. Fuck that shit. But like there's certain points in games where I'm like, I really don't want to redo this puzzle, right? Fallout 4 has some really, really dog shit puzzles in the DLC. I think like there's a necessity for that. If you can't program, like if it's an artistic choice, you can't program a colorblind feature into it, you give the players an ability to skip a portion that they're having trouble with. You know, if they're colorblind, for example, and you're like, hey, this is our artistic choice for this particular scene, you can press, the option button on the fucking controller to skip this portion, right? Something like that, cool. If you're creating the ability to just skip the entire section of a game because you find it too difficult and you don't want to fucking turn down the difficulty level, that's where I find fault with it.
That's why I also think this is like the worst part of it. Like, if it's just because it's so hard to allowed to skip it, I think that would ruin so much of gaming. But like the feeling of achievement that you get after beating, for example, a boss in Dark Souls, is like the point of like most games, in my opinion.
Imagine imagine going to the Sephiroth fight in Kingdom Hearts 1 and
And get
you
the
just
question, do you want to skip this battle
yeah,
and get your Keyblade?
yeah. That's where I would find fault
Y-
with it. Like, as somebody that suffered through that fucking fight.
the thing is, this exact thing is becoming more and more popular in the RPG Maker community.
Mhm.
It's already becoming more and more popular. This exact feature you just stated.
Yeah. And
And that's
I don't
I don't know how much you are in the RPG Maker community.
not really.
And not really. Yeah, I expected that, but that's becoming the norm, and that's
It
what
doesn't shock me.
when I hear Sony like patenting that, that is what I get from it.
Yeah, and
That
I figure a lot of studios will go that route. Be like, okay, if you want to have that pride of like, I want to play this on fuck my ass difficulty, and I don't want to turn it down. I'm having trouble with this fight. Cool, you can skip this fight. But like you said, like this negating this sense of accomplishment that is really important to gaming. But I see it from an accessibility standpoint of like, oh, you can't do
I don't
this
think
because of
difficulty
a
has
div.
anything with.
Yeah,
I don't think difficulty has anything to do with accessibility. I think
right,
difficulty is a storytelling method.
right. And I
Um,
agree with you
and
there. I'm just seeing like
and I
from
think like yeah, go on.
I'm just seeing the other side of this coin, right? Because I realize that there are artistic choices made in games where like color palettes are used, where
Yes, I
there's
agree.
like sound cues are being used and somebody might be hard of hearing. So they want to keep their story intact, but give players the option if they're having trouble with that kind of thing. And
And
that's where I'm
this
happy
is
with it being there.
if it's just like a part of the game, like a small section for like or like a mini game of a bigger game, like Kingdom Hearts or like Final Fantasy often have, then I agree. I think it can be skippable. I wouldn't have a problem with it as long as it's not part of the main game or like the main story sections. I completely agree with you, but I don't. This is not the place where it ends,
No,
and you
no,
just
it
literally
will continue to.
had
It'll
yes,
encroach completely over to the game. Be like, oh, you can just press the start button fucking 18 times and then you beat the game, right? And then,
yes.
wow, what did you do? You press a single button. Congratulations. Do you feel anything? Yeah, I'm I'm there with you on that one. And I understand like Sony is very, very gung ho with their technology and making sure that it's used in every aspect of their fucking shit. So
Yeah, just look at the fucking engine they used for Final Fantasy 15. That was so good. They wanted to enforce it on Kingdom Hearts 3. Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is like the worst decision. And especially from a community perspective, how difficulty settings already split communities. That's like a huge part of why From Software doesn't want to have difficulty settings, as they want everyone to experience the same.
yeah.
And I think a perfect example is Baldur's Gate 3, like the subreddit, how people don't experience the same game anymore. Because some person plays it on Tactician or Honor mode, where literally mechanics of the games are being changed with the difficulty. To people who play it on easy mode, it's not the same game at that point anymore. It's not comparable anymore. And that's and especially if you start allowing to skip things, this divide will only get bigger and bigger. And splitting the community is not something you should plan for with such features.
Yeah, like look at the elitism that's even in the Kingdom Hearts fandom, right? If you don't play it on proud or critical, you're not a real fan, right?
If you don't play it on proud or critical, if you don't play it on critical level 1 with 0 drive, and you're not a real fan, and if you and I dare you to use drive forms or summons or limits, they make this game way too easy. Even on that set, you're not allowed
If
to
you
use
use
them.
attractions in Kingdom Hearts 3, you're a fake fan. I'm sorry, I want
To
to
be-
watch a goddamn carousel go around, bitch.
To be fair, I hate attractions. I think they're completely annoying. Take me out of the game. Not because I hate them, not because they are OP, just because they are fucking annoying.
Oh, I don't disagree. They're annoying. I managed to spam to level to fucking 99 with just the goddamn carousel. I hated myself for it.
Yes,
Because there was a glitch in one of the fucking graveyard segments where you could just spam the attraction and you can just
literally says it was every fucking combat encounter because they're being put into your fucking ass with how much you're getting access to them.
Yeah, well, I just fucking glitched the game. I don't know how, but like it was apparently common enough glitch in the Keyblade graveyard that it was a whole section of the subreddit for like a week. I'm like, huh. So it wasn't just me, but it fucking framed out at maxing out your XP. I'm like, oh, cool, and then it just ended the encounter. But anyway, I figured that's fixed in the Steam ports that we finally got, so you can buy it for the 55th time and me for the 56th. uh, oh, and speaking of cost cutting, the Xbox 360 game store closes July 29th, so get all those non-preserved games, people.
Woo!
I'm honestly shocked that Microsoft kept it around as long as they did. Aren't you?
Same. Especially with Microsoft, I thought that it will close way sooner.
Because let's think about how exploitable that version of Azure is at this point, right?
Yeah.
Just from like our perspective, that is fucking 2012 technology maxed out on the 360.
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking in-game Windows 7, early Windows 8.1. like just from a technology perspective, it's very impressive that they kept that alive as long as they did, and I say that as somebody that's very, very fond of game preservation. I'm also shocked that Sony
We had
allowed
that at the beginning of this episode. Callback to the to past us.
Yeah, and also I'm shocked that Sony has kept the PS3 around as long as they have. Even, the fucking they were originally going to close it down like 2021. They decided to keep it around for a while longer. I figure it'll follow suit.
After it was called out on Twitter.
Yeah, I figure it'll be closing soon too, because if the golden boy of Microsoft is closing their store, it'll be like, well, now nobody.
Microsoft and Nintendo. The golden chat, I would say, is more Nintendo.
That's fair, especially like given the last couple weeks.
Yes.
I would be shocked if they actually keep it open now.
Yeah, I completely agree with. I think it's just like we are currently in just a bad aspect of gaming history in general. Like this will be the black sheep of like gaming news in general. But I think we have stellar releases for with like Baldur's Gate 3 last year, the Elden Ring DLC this year. I have hope for the products, but I think more AAA companies will die, and I'm happy that I haven't bought any of those except for Square Enix.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to like not be a fan of any of those, not feeling the need of supporting any of those like the companies.
Oh, for sure. So just to call back for a second to Embracer, because I've reached like the end of April's topics that we had posted in here. They split the company into 3 divisions near the end of April, where it's like I guess it is going to be Asmodee Group, Coffee Stain and Friends, and Middle Earth Enterprises and Friend. I love how they focus on the word friend, when very clearly this is 8 fucking hedge fund investors in a trench coat. I do think it is interesting that Coffee Stain, of all studios, is being put front and center, because this is a studio that is most famous for the shitpost game Goat Simulator.
Woo!
I find that like the most bizarre choice here, but this is actually like right after they had divested Gearbox, that they announced like all the splitting. So Gearbox went back to being like its own thing, and then all of this got restructured. And this was also after like 5 other studios inside of them got shuttered and everything. We also have there was the
while you search the next topic, I just want to make a quick joke about Little Big Planet 3 servers getting offline. Not about the topic, it's not about that news itself, but like player creations and how hilarious I find it that more and more games companies want to go away from like this are like player creations, use them. More and more companies want to go away from it with like, yeah,
You
code
can't be trusted.
injections.
Yeah, you can't be trusted with this. Ever been in a
Dark Souls, yes, go on.
were you ever in like a fucking Black Ops 1 server? Like, I understand why player creations aren't a thing anymore.
For example, do you know how the 3DS was finally cracked?
It was
It was a game with player creation that didn't check how long the code is. So you could just put into it in Binar, you could just put into it your own code to run on your 3DS after that. Because of player creations. And that's not the first thing. Dark Souls also has a problem with like player hacking the game through like player creation of items. That was completely hacking, by the way. Code inject on viruses and spyware on our PCs. And Little Big Planet also had most likely the same problem. If people would look back, we would find that how to do that. Mario Maker had the same problem.
I mean, that's not at all shocking because once you allow trolls in general to actually have that kind of free reign of your software, it is very unfortunate reality that there is going to be those types of people that are like, huh, I've now got control over your PC or your console. Please send me Bitcoin.
Yes, and I think like this happened to me once when I was like 10 or 11, that we wanted paysafe checks.
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
The next time this happens to me, just remember I now have studied IT with a focus on IT security and hacking.
I will find you. I will get your IP address.
I have your IP address before you get the money.
Let's focus here for 1 second.
Yeah, this was just while you find the next topic.
What's the statute of limitation on cybercrime? So I had a troll very, very early on, and when I played Siege, right? And and this is why I don't use comms in video games anymore. Because this person kept their location on their Xbox profile, right? I found their exact address, sent that to them because they were trying to dox me and they couldn't figure out how to do it. I'm like, this is your exact location. Don't fuck with the IT person.
I sometimes whenever I like I'm on Twitter and I like get like hate or something, I'm always so close to just post into the IP address as an answer to hate.
Yeah. So one, I don't really play competitive games anymore. The most
I do.
The most I play is Fortnite, and I just stick around in that game because I find it fun for content. Two, don't fucking do that. Don't do what I did.
Like, it's illegal. I can get sued for that shit. Of course I won't. I'm living in a country where we put private data security extreme.
Right.
For us in Germany, it's more important.
It was probably some 14-year-old kid that I was fucking with. In all seriousness, that probably shouldn't have been playing an M-rated game. But let's be real here: we were all playing fucking Call of Duty, and we were all playing GTA when we were 14.
GTA San Andreas, I played it when I was 8.
Yeah,
I must
literally.
say it was fun because it was a let out for Rage.
I was literally playing Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 on the SNES when I was a fucking kid, so I can't say shit.
But like, what's the next topic? Don't dox other people is like the answer from this shit.
But like,
don't hack other people.
We also saw that the Alone in the Dark reboot, or remake, whatever you want to call it, team is being laid off. Like 2-3 months after that game came out.
Yes, and
I
that's
don't
easy
know
to
if it
say.
was. I don't
The
know.
game,
I really don't
yes,
know. Like if it was finish the project then the studio's closing, because the studio is still active on Twitter. The studio is still promoting the game. So it might have just
I
been that
think
team itself because it underperformed. But how can
I
we
think it's
really
either
judge a game's
the
performance
team
on that with a few months worth of
sales.
sales?
No, besides, literally, COD is being considered, it was like a statement in 2010 or 12. If it doesn't sell 12 million copies in the first month, it's a failure. And the biggest sale point is in the first month of a game's release. So after its release, you will always see like a huge drop until it like releases on another platform.
I
And if
mean,
you
that's.
don't
I
provide
guess
in the
that's
first
kind
month,
of. I guess
and if
that's
you don't
kind
provide
of
in the first month,
fair to judge in a way, but like it was released alongside a bunch of other shit too that was obviously going to do better. So they kind of set that team up for failure then. But
yes, that's the other point. The investors, like you said beforehand, don't know anything about the scene. They don't know what's like the high product that's coming out at the same time. Maybe switch it. Like the Final Fantasy 14 DLC is being delayed now. It comes out next month. First of all, you lied. It's coming out
really,
next month. Yes,
I
because
thought it came out this
it
month.
no, it's getting out. It was delayed because it had the same release date as the Elden Ring DLC.
Oh, well, that
And
is a smart
you
one. That is a
and
smart one.
they literally went on stage and said, "We are going to delay this game. Elden Ring DLC, you get 1 week extra time to play with DLC, then come back to us." They openly stated that the Elden Ring DLC was the reason the DLC is getting delayed, even though it's finished already.
Well, I'm proud that they have the self awareness of that. Like I missed
Wait,
that announcement.
I put it in the chat, but not as in news, not with a link or anything, just as like a saying.
Oh well, that's
I
probably
need
why
to
I didn't
find
see
it.
it.
And like Yoshitaro literally went out and said, "Yes, this is the whole reason it's finished, but we will delay it for Elden Ring DLC. You have one more week."
Well, it's pretty cool.
They did that, and it was hugely praised in the community from all sides.
Yeah. We saw a new type of delisting too. Right around that same time. Capcom discontinuing the Turnabout collection of Ace Attorney. So the games are just going to be sold singles now instead of a bundle, which is a bizarre choice. I wonder if there was like something that was in that bundle that's no longer allowed to be sold, or if it's just a stylistic choice because they're going to do like standalone releases of it on a different platform. Because it was never clarified why that was happening either. It was like, hey, we're discontinuing this bundle SKU. Cool. Gary's Mod getting hit with like a massive cease and desist we saw for the Nintendo branded content, like the Pikachu skins and shit like that happened.
Yeah.
That one was a choice because it's been a thing for decades at this point, and they're just now focusing on taking down Gary's Mod stuff.
And that's like what the actual fuck thinks Nintendo. First of all, Nintendo doesn't care what its consumers think. They know they're like the biggest gaming company. They don't care what the consumers think, as every almost monopoly thinks. And like it's just like a huge PR hurts their PR, but like they don't care.
Yeah, and let's
They are
be
too big to
realistic.
fall.
Like Gary's Mod is like this massive content pool for them too, because with the amount of customization in Gary's Mod, we also have the ability to actually sit down and focus on stylized content. We see like a bunch of like modes made for things from The Office, from fucking Riverdale. We've seen full-on Pokemon episodes being recreated, and I feel like that's where the line was drawn for
most
Nintendo.
Games originate also from Gary's Mod.
Yeah,
and it's just a huge middle finger to games like Among Us that is just Trouble in Terrorist Town that originated in T-Mod.
and like that was a very big real I don't even know what the word to call it is, like focal point for like learning the source engine in general from Valve. Like Gary's Mod was a way to learn how ragdoll physics worked for that. It was a teaching tool for a lot of people too. And
Yes,
like with all the different abilities of like hitboxes for different builds and stuff with these different customized pieces of content that are just now gone from the fucking internet. It's very bizarre. Like, oh, you can't have Fat Pikachu, but over here you can have fucking, I don't know, Geralt from fucking Witcher. That's perfectly fine. It's just Nintendo being cunnish with this. I don't get it. It's been so many years of shit.
and I think it's this, in my opinion, is just a start. Like I think they're going to start to hit like way more ROMX as they already did.
Oh god,
That
yeah.
if they get like Gary's mod down,
And
and we saw what they did to
yeah,
people who hacked the games.
yeah, we saw Gary Bowser be the guinea pig here, and he'll be paying that off for the rest of his life. Like it's not even a
His
joke.
descendants will need to pay that off if they
They
manage to do that.
they
Um,
it depends, right? Because like debt isn't inherited.
Correct, and
Uh
that's a good thing. Imagine it would be what the actual fuck.
it's not inherited in most countries, I should say. Um I believe
In Japan, it is, if I
yeah,
remember right.
I believe Japan and one of the Koreas it is.
Yes, and that's the problem. Like, and I see that as not just attack against. I mean, it's literally visible. They attack ROM hacks, emulators,
Mhm.
and Gary's mod now. They started going after everything that uses their IPs without allowance.
Yep. It's crazy. Like it's I don't know if it's new leadership or new not wanting that stuff to be fed into generative AI too, right? Because it would depend
Yep.
on how those
It,
assets are handled.
but yes, that's correct. Protect. They want to protect their IP. That just yes. Um, But if it's a good way of thinking of, I need to protect my IP as much as I attack my own community for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like put in like the limit, the cap. This is
Mm-hmm.
where you should have stopped. But they clearly don't care. And they are too big to fail.
Yep.
We can, if like 1 million people stop buying games from them. Oh no, we lost like 1%.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Nintendo is a company that can operate in the black for ages without ever seeing any
Green.
fucking like they have so much money from the Wii era that no matter what they do for the next 10 years they could operate at a complete loss and still be fine. So we saw like a potential fake but also real Shigeru Miyamoto IMDb profile go viral. We don't know if it was actually legit or not.
So I quickly put up, you said the Wii. I quickly put out lifetime sales of video game consoles worldwide as of February 2024. Wii is number 6. It's number 7 on this list.
PS2 is the number one of all time, I know.
PS2 is number 1. Nintendo DS is number 2. Nintendo Switch number 3. The Game Boy is number 4.
Well, the DS had how many iterations? Like, that's not shocking.
The 3DS is still in the top 10.
Yeah, but like the DS itself had the
DSi is
DS.
also counted as a different one.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then.
That's insane. Like, V is an extremely successful console. We all agree on that. But it's like the 4th best console ever made.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean,
they
it
have
was this.
way too much money.
Yeah, it's the thing that they sold it to every demographic too, right? And that's why the Switch is being successful, is it's being sold and marketed to every demographic, because you can take it on the go with you.
Yes, while like the PlayStation is being demographed as like, this is the adult console for adults, not for children.
Yeah, and
No, do you
it
want
looks
as a
like it was
parent?
made by fucking Kaiba Core.
To be fair, I like that design. I like the Kyber jacket on mine.
And I got dark plates from D Brand. I wanted a slimmer profile for my fucking room. I can't help it.
And this is like another thing, like, yes. But what was the topic again? All right,
We had
everybody.
3 fucking showcases back to back get announced. We are doing THQ is getting one in August, where they're going to be announcing more stuff about the Gothic 1 remake, which makes me happy because I love the Gothic games.
So we're also getting the Game Summer Show next week, next month.
Yeah, we have Summer Game Fest being announced.
Summer Game Fest.
We have the Xbox showcase, I think, also got announced.
Yes. It's summertime, my friends. You know what that means.
E3, not
Summer
E3.
Game Fest is Summer Game Fest starting in 3 days and 20 hours and 39 minutes.
And temper your expectations, Papa Jeff says. No Kingdom Hearts 4.
In other words, no 6.
And we're not going to have like Star Ocean 17 announced. We're not going to have anything really major. It's going to focus on
most of these game shows nowadays, like all the AAA companies have their own, like the Xbox showcase and everything. They all wanted to do it themselves in house. This is like more like for indie games nowadays. That's why I'm more hyped on that than everything else.
And let's be real here. After Jeff has been called out so many times, I don't think people have as big of like focus on him as a person anymore, other than putting him under a microscope. And I think it's rightfully so at this point, because he has shown very much that he's an industry shill, and he's very much in it for the fucking money, and not the love of the show, like he originally said he was. And I do find that the Summer Game Fest and the Game Awards are necessary evils for the industry, because it does put a focus on things from a mainstream perspective. I feel
it brings us together.
Yeah.
Like the game community is split into 1 billion different sections, and this is the only thing where we all like interact with it together.
Yep. And that used to be E3. Yeah,
yes.
But like
E3, Gamescom.
Gamescom
developed. Yes, go on.
Gamescom wasn't as mainstream as like the Tokyo Game Show, for example, right? Like these
Gamescom was like mostly European central, as we didn't have an E3, so it was always smaller. And more, that's something I heard was critique from more and more people all around Europe. It became more and more German influencer based. And that's a lot of critique it got also this year. That it was mostly being advertised for the influencers, not for the games itself.
I mean, that's what E3 became eventually, right? It went from like having booth babes and drunken parties to ending up having like, oh, this is YouTuber number 99 here on the show floor doing a mini vlog, and
something about the Gamescom that happened that like created a huge uproar. The influencer pass. They created a limit at how many Twitch followers you needed to have, or how many YouTube subscribers you need to have to get access to one.
Here's the funny thing: I could get access to TwitchCon right now, even as small as we are.
Yes, and Gamescom you wouldn't.
Yeah,
Gamescom had like a huge limit that like people with like, I think the limit was like for Twitch that you needed to have over 500 followers. People know your face with 400 followers. You're already one of the biggest streamers in the world. Have fun going from place to place without like having a safe space.
Literally.
You can't
like literally cover your drink. Take your drink with you to the bathroom. Some fucking weirdo is going to spike it and try to sleep with you. And I'm not saying that lightly. I mean, that is the type of crowd you're going to have. You're going to have like a Pokemon level of fucking following if people know you're there. And that's disturbing as shit. And even so TwitchCon has like massive security because of that.
And I think the massive security is still not enough. We still hear from case to case every time, every event.
Yep.
And like Gamestorm has lost a lot of it. Like the German PewDiePie, some people call him, and Gronk, like he was for the longest time the biggest German YouTuber, like called that out and said like, good, make the cap higher. It should be a fest not for influencers but for gaming. And he got hated so much for that.
He's right though. It's supposed to be
He's
fucking game.
completely right.
It's supposed to be
But
focused on gaming. Like that's what this event is. It's not, hey, my Twitch community can come here and meet me, right? It's the, hey, this is a fucking show about making games and showcasing the games that are being made. Like the
yes,
fuck.
and like that, and like Gamescom made a statement to say yes, we want to be it like that. That's why we have like this limit now. It was mostly that because they didn't want to have like billions of stream influencers now, who the amount of like big streamers we have just increased way too much.
Mm-hmm.
That the rooms you need to have like to make them a safe space are like way too small nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And they just wanted to save money in that. That's like the biggest reason. But like I see that as like when yes, fuck influencers, fuck all of you.
Like literally.
And I support that.
Literally. So, X Defiant, right? The COD killer.
Yes.
It just dropped like 2 weeks ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right around the time that Black Ops 6 got announced. And no, I'm not saying that. They're counting Cold War apparently as Black Ops 5.
Didn't like Activision didn't they had like in the past like the rule they only wanted to counter 3 of games and then switch the title?
You know, they used to have that rule. I don't think they follow their own rules anymore because they did Black Ops 4 back when I lived out in the boondocks even. So
well, they also did Kingdom Hearts 3 while you lived there, so
yeah. I was in the city when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, thankfully.
I was a big city boy already during that time in Arbor.
But like the fact that Black Ops 4 broke the rule, then they had Cold War, and now they have like 6, I guess.
Like yeah, what was the how long was the gap between Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 4? Modern Warfare 3 came out while I was in like 5th, 6th grade.
Well, see, here's the problem because like we have Modern Warfare 2, the remake, which is a whole different timeline. Yeah. So Modern Warfare 2 is a continuation of the
2011.
Yeah.
3 came out 2011.
Yeah. But like they did Modern Warfare Reboot, which was like 2018, 2019, and then they did a Modern Warfare 2 again here recently.
And Modern Warfare 3 came out last year. The new Modern Warfare 3. What the actual fuck? Activision, just stick to Crash Bandicoot. You make great Crash Bandicoot games.
No.
Stop doing code.
No, just kill COD. Just fucking kill COD. Like,
yeah,
do it.
Literally.
Get the fucking take the limping, dying, leprous fucking corpse out back and put it down, okay? I'm sick of fucking Call of Duty. I say that as somebody that fucking pre-ordered Black Ops 6.
That just again, IP is way too big to fail. They know. It's Black Ops. It will sell 50 million copies in the first month.
I had a fucking
everything back together.
I had a credit on Blizzard. I didn't pay any of my real money. I'm like, you know what? The idea of having George H.W. Bush and Saddam Hussein in the same zombies mode is funny to me. I can make a shit post out of this. But my god, it is fucking dumb. It is dumb. But also, X Defiant lasted 2 weeks before people were like, oh, new COD. And they went crazy for it.
Every code is almost just like the same, isn't it?
It is. It literally is. It literally is.
And Assassin's Creed.
I'm sick to death of this franchise, man. Like, it's stupid. But like
the thing is, never change your running system.
It's not even like never change the running system, never change the core mechanics to make your game fun and cater to the pros.
Yeah, I mean that's like we already mentioned that also before. We are consistent, my friends. Designing games for pros or casuals. It's like
you can have a rank. You can have like a competitive ranked mode. Like you could separate that audience very easily. You can have like
you can't. Do you balance weapons, patches? Do you make the DLC more like are those meant for competitive play? Like depending on the game, it's like
Have 2 separate modes with 2 separate builds. Like, you see the pros.
But see, no, this is the problem. When you have 2 different games, why should they then sell it as one and not split it as 2 games where they know they get money for both of them?
That's fair. Like, there has
like
to be
corporate-wise, you want to keep your community as one, so you only have to cater to one group.
Yeah.
So you would never split it. Again, like difficulty. You never want to split your community, and that would be a way to split them extremely so.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for this one, and I like to be the person with the answer for it, but like,
but we shouldn't. We are not game designers. We can raise problems even without knowing the solution for it. We are not game designers.
Like, it's unfortunate because like I see the need to have a competitive scene in a game that has a competitive focus like Call of Duty or Fortnite. And well, even Fortnite, I think that the competitive scene is kind of like stupid because there's no need for that game that is catered towards like literal children mostly to have like a hyper competitive bunch of chuds being like, this sucks when it's every fun weapon, right? But like there's like Overwatch had like a decent idea when it first started of like listening to both sides and trying to find a middle ground for it. And then they were like, you know what, let's cater only to the Overwatch League players. And then, well, we saw how successful the Overwatch League was. It lasted, what, like 4 years?
I mean, you can see that Yu-Gi-Oh! Literally started only catering to like the competitive scene, and it worked over there. As the Yu-Gi-Oh! Nerd, I can say that card design philosophy for designing cards changed completely just only for the pros. Looking at Yu-Gi-Oh! Reddit, casuals feel betrayed, left out than ever before. And you get a lot of digital casuals where people felt left out, but it's bigger than ever with the new card design philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
It's still growing, so they think they're in the right and they do a great job.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
but like that's just a huge other discussion which I wanted to, which I think we should keep for its own episode, as it's a way too big of a topic.
oh yeah, and I do think that will be a good one. Have like
especially with me as a competitive player.
Yeah.
Who likes being competitive.
Yeah, this is an interesting topic that we can like dive deeper into. Bloodstained got its final update here recently.
Yes, I still need to replay Bloodstained. I've only played it once when it was released, and never again. I wanted to start it this month, another round of it then.
Yeah, like once the DLC drops, I'm gonna I don't think it's dropped yet because I didn't get an update, so I'm gonna do a run for that as well.
Let me quickly check. Do I have it still installed? No, I don't. I need to reinstall it. What does big update 1.5 May 9th? No, it didn't.
Yeah. We have.
Do I even have all the DLCs of that game?
We have the successor to the Switch being announced this fiscal year.
Let's go. Maybe I will buy it. Most likely don't.
I will. Unfortunately,
I don't. I just get it from my brother who's going to buy it.
The June 10th, so in a couple days, we're no longer gonna be able to post clips to fucking Twitter.
From the Switch.
Yeah. So that is every game DVR now saying fuck Twitter.
As they should. Fuck Twitter.
Like, we have
not physically. I mean, in the regard that it's a fucking garbage garbage pile, garbage dump.
We saw the closure of Tango Gameworks, and we saw the closure of Arcane Studios, Austin division, and the last round of Microsoft layoffs as well, which was funny because at the same time they were saying that we want to make more passion projects and independent games, and you literally just closed Tango, who did exactly that and made the most successful title on your game service plan. But go off, King.
Because there's a big difference of saying we want to make it and to get that label and really doing that. They literally just want to have indie. call the games indie because it has like a good innotation. It's like every product in the supermarket wants to have bio.
Yeah, it's
That's just a fucking only reason, and that's
it's
yeah.
corporate speak for we like the idea, but we don't want to pay the studio. And
We like it's corporate speak for like we want the label of calling a game indie, but not really making it an indie game, and then firing the people if they didn't make real numbers.
I don't know if you ever played any of the Arcane titles, Ann Arbor.
No, I didn't.
I highly recommend the Dishonored franchise. Like, it is some of the
I know.
most...
I have some friends who are extremely huge fans of it. My D&D group.
I will say it is like one of the most unreal experiences the first time you play that. How drastically the world changes graphically based on how good or evil you are, or how chaotic or stealthy you are, right? If you go around and kill everybody in the game, it's a completely different world than if you try to be stealthy throughout the entire game. And it's such a unique concept.
They made Deathloop.
Yeah,
that was to do with Deathloop. I like Deathloop.
It was a fun idea. I do think it was kind of.
It was underdeveloped, understaffed. I know it didn't felt like they reached their goal with that game.
Yeah,
but like it was fun.
Yeah, I think the difficulty spike is unrealistic on a lot of aspects of that game, unfortunately. Like, I'm not saying like difficulty bad, I'm saying like 20-30 minutes into it you have a massive spike and like, well, now I'm stuck in the loop because it feels like it was kind of rushed through.
Yes, like I said, it felt as if they couldn't finalize the vision they had with the game. I think it's just a perfect word for it.
We're getting ads in EA games.
Yes, I can't wait for for ads in my video games. Because
hey guys, I hear you like sports games because that's basically all we publish at this point. And you know what's a real sports experience? Here's a Slim Jim ad.
Imagine having while you're in the online queue. Like, every time you're waiting to find a new player, you will get
welcome
like,
to sportsbook.com, brought to you by this random influencer that sold his soul.
This is Genshin Impact ad 101.
Have you heard about the #1 role-playing game of all time, Raid Shadow Legends?
I mean, you won't last playing this game for 5 minutes.
You have to make a foreign ad. The correlation between the people that play NFL and have partners, though, is very, very slim. So we need to have those ads.
I fucking hate us. Yeah, but on a good note, have you seen that we are getting a Terraria board game?
I did not see that.
I didn't post it because I think I'm the only one who's interested in board games here.
I have some interest, but like
we are getting a Terraria board game. I fucking love it. The Kickstarter is online currently, and it's meant for 1 to 4 players and lasts 120 minutes.
So I'm assuming it's already been funded because it has a very rabid fan base.
It's completely funded like in the first hour. It's like the 12th most sold gamer of all time.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and for a long time it was in the top 10.
Like the fucking Boom Studios comic bundles for Power Rangers gets funded in like 10 minutes usually, so I'm not shocked on that one.
So they wanted for the Kickstarter 23,307 euros. They have over 1 million. So they have around 50 times as much as they wanted.
Huh. Did you see the lovely idea that Ubisoft had for Assassin's Creed Shadows?
Are we talking about the huge idea they had?
Let's break this down real quick. And I'm not diving into the Yasuke and the fucking game thing because he is a real person who actually served on the field. We're not going to get into Gamergate discourse here. I'm talking about the fact that there is a $130 version of the game that you don't even get everything with.
Oh, you're talking about this one. Yes, yes. The Ultimate Edition, the Gold Edition for $110. They're not getting everything.
Yeah. Um.
So yeah, Ubisoft literally. But let's be honest, Ubisoft knew what they were doing. They didn't release those editions to like sell them. They released it to like say, get our fucking Ubisoft Plus.
Yeah,
Fuck
literally.
you, get to Ubisoft Plus. That's the only reason why they made them so horrendously
Because, like,
expensive.
literally in their own marketing, day one with Ubisoft Plus, base game, pre-order bonus, season pass, 3-day early access, ultimate pack, plus 100 plus more PC games. Please
Yes.
subscribe to us. Download our shitty launcher. It's not spyware, I promise.
Yes, it's completely like we just want to advertise our Ubisoft Plus because we know not everybody's getting it because everybody is fucking piece of garbage. And it's like there's no other reasons for like having this horrendous.
As somebody that had Ubisoft Plus for a while they were diving through all of the Assassin's Creed games, it is quite possibly the most annoying launcher of all the annoying launchers. Because you cannot even fully disable it on startup.
I mean, let's be real, it's not in the Steam launcher, it will be boycotted. Just look at Alan Wake 2. Most likely fantastic game, hugely praised, award-winning, didn't make green numbers because it was not accessible on Steam. The same will happen to Assassin's Creed.
As somebody that bought Alan Wake 2, it's a fantastic game. I hope they actually port it over.
Yes, that's just another big topic. Are you buying games that are not on Steam? My answer is no. Easily done. Most people think so as well. Steam is the monopoly for PC
like
gaming.
you were the way I learned that they were porting all the fucking Kingdom Hearts games to Steam. I saw you post that in the server while I was with my partner, and I'm like, huh. I don't know if Ann Arbor's shit posting here. I went and I looked, and that was the actual Kingdom Hearts account. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm going to buy this game again, and I hate myself because I have bought it so many times.
And I think it's clearly visible. Square Enix saw that the numbers on like Epic Games Store are not that good compared to like the Steam sales for other games, and decided, you know what, this Epic exclusive deal was most likely a mistake for Kingdom Hearts. So they are now retroactively taking everything back. And Square Enix is not the only one taking back the exclusive, blah blah blah. Language is hard. Get you learn German decks. Exclusivity deal with Epic. Most companies stop doing them with Epic and want to delete their currently if they currently have one.
And it's not just the Epic Game Store that's getting this treatment. It's every other launcher. People are moving back to Steam, right?
Yeah.
Because even Ubisoft put like Valhalla on Steam, Odyssey on Steam, Origins on Steam. These were games that were never on Steam, to my knowledge. The last 3 Assassin's Creed, I think Mirage goes on there as well soon, if it's not already on there, because they realize like not everybody wants to download 18 different launchers to play all their games. And then meanwhile you have like pseudo baked in launchers for 2K into fucking games that I owned way before they had their shitty launcher, like fucking BioShock.
Yes, and I mean the biggest problem people had with Steam was like it takes 30% of your sales. Something that Nintendo did since Nintendo was created. Yeah. While Sony and Microsoft both like don't take I think around 15 to 20%.
From a friend that developed a game for PS4 way back in the day, they took 15%. I don't know if that's still the deal.
That is still the deal from what I heard as well. It's really just only Steam and Nintendo still taking 30%.
And Steam got away with it because it was the monopoly at the time. It was the one
Nintendo launcher. Also gets away with it because, fun fact, that's the 30% are because they're printed on the fucking Switch chips.
Mm-hmm. And that's literally proprietary technology with a Switch.
Yes,
but there is a Nintendo tax on even digital games, which is bizarre to me. I think the
That
digital
for
only
fairness.
titles or digital titles should cost less because I'm not getting a physical piece of media, but that's just me.
And like, no, that's literally the argument for that is no, we can't like tell those people we will treat them better with like we take less money away from them, but not to the other people. We can't do that, so we just tax both people more.
Mhm.
It's like we can't just tax the rich. If we increase the taxes, not just the rich but also the poor.
Mm-hmm.
To make it fair, because both are human beings living under the same rules. We can't just make rules that only benefit half of the population while doing the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Nintendo doesn't want to change it, and Steam always did it. Nobody complains about Steam, so we'll continue it.
Pretty
And
much.
let's be real, Steam never cared for that competition. Steam never once like said to people, let's make it Steam exclusive. They never did that. They never plan on doing that. And the competition always killed itself.
Yeah, and we're
Look,
seeing it now.
look at the layoffs. Look at how many layoffs Epic had this year alone.
Yeah. And it's Epic blew up mostly during COVID as well, like Embracer did.
Especially the Fortnite.
Mm-hmm. But like Fortnite isn't going to be the be all end all for them. They wanted this launcher to be a thing and people to use the storefront to generate more income. And what we have now is the one launcher that supports massive blockchain gaming because Valve said, fuck you, get off our service. And we have the fact that they're focusing more and more on stylized experiences instead of gaming, right? Because we see Fortnite has become multiple different live service variations of itself. You have a Diet Rock Band in it. You have a Lego experience for the younger generation because a lot more of the older teens have shifted over to zero builds because it feels like old school Halo. As somebody that played old school Halo and now plays Fortnite zero build, that's why I stay with it mostly. And then you have, the Rocket League version in there with Rocket Racing. So, and they're going to have a sports mode in there at some point. So it's going to be essentially a metaverse of its own. And I hate using that fucking term because I think it's dog shit, but that's what they've essentially decided to turn it into. And I'm not disagreeing with that at all because having an all-encompassing experience is cool for a company that wants to create it. And I find it funny that they pulled off what fucking Meta and all these other companies couldn't pull off with a goddamn game where you can fucking do the grittiest Goku. Okay? I find that eternally funny. But it's not going to be the be-all end-all that they think it's going to be. It's going to be a fad, and it's going to die out. We saw the Rocket Racing die out pretty quickly. We saw Fortnite Festival being mostly played by hardcore rhythm game fans, and the Lego mode is basically dead. Like,
I remember the Fortnite Lego was like revealed. Me and Party Jams were like, "Go awesome! This Lego game looks like great!" And it's Fortnite. And me and Party Jams both hating Fortnite. We're like, we will never speak of this occasion again. All right.
It was fun. It was fun.
It looked fun. Me and Party Jams said it looked fun. We just didn't care for it anymore. After it was revealed that it's Fortnite.
Let's stream Lego Fortnite, guys.
But it's like already we are entering the 2 hours mark if you're not already over it. So I will quickly wrap up the last topics we had.
Yeah, and we're hitting 149.
The
rumor that Microsoft, not happening.
It's like we get it every month. The other topics we already mentioned, that when EA's fan of AI, we already talked about that. How they think maybe the numbers are interesting with like 60% of processes could be boosted.
I don't think that that's a realistic number, but
currently I agree. Let's talk about that in 6 months again.
Yeah.
I mean, if AI develops fast, it's like I can't imagine that AI will be in 6 months.
Yeah.
So maybe in 6 months it's more than.
So the
6 months could really be that 60 is like undervalued, and they can do like 80%.
Yeah,
I don't. We can't say.
Yeah. The Neil Druckmann interview thing was interesting because they misquoted him intentionally and then backpedaled. pretty quickly. That Sony interview, and it's weird because Sony locks their talent into not doing a lot of outside interviews. So for them to blatantly spread misinformation about their own product is quite an interesting take from them. I wonder how that will affect faith in their company and their processes moving forward.
No, I don't. Literally, I'm sorry, but like, I don't think Sony really values their own products that highly. I'll be completely honest with that shit.
That's fair because they
They
really
only value
are.
like Spider-Man, but like 90% of the products they don't value.
Yeah, that's fair. We have an animated Minecraft series in the works. He posted here.
Yes.
I'm okay with that. Like, why not?
I am extremely intrigued by that. Like, what the actual fuck? How will it be? What is like the audience I want to reach? If it is the children, then it's will 100% work. If it's like more adult oriented, then like I'm interested. I don't think that will be as easy to produce, but I would be interested in watching that.
I
It
feel
just
like it can.
asking. I agree. I think they can do it. I just want to know the targeted audience, so I
Yeah,
can kind of prepare myself for it.
yeah. I think of all the IP that Netflix has picked up, I think this is the most safe one.
To
I
be fair,
don't.
after they
I don't
yes,
like the fact that a lot of their shows are being targeted as anime when they're clearly just Western animation, but anime inspired. Like the
I
Tomb
mean,
Raider one.
anime is literally animation. If you ask Japanese people how would they call it, they would call it animation.
Yeah,
They would call it anime. It's literally just
it's
Western people making the difference, and I don't fucking
yeah.
care about the difference anymore. Animation is animation, doesn't matter from which region.
That's fair. It's just, I guess, the Western terminology
Mindset.
coming out, but I feel like the Tomb Raider one looked really good. I just watched the trailer before I got in the call with you.
I'll be honest. After the One Piece live action series, I believe Netflix can make everything into a good series,
It's just, will they
except
not
Cowboy Bebop.
cancel it?
Yes, that's the other question. I mean, One Piece already got its second season teasered.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then I think we're got up there.
that was the latest news we had in this Discord channel. But that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to wrap it up, as we didn't have that much left anymore.
Yeah. I feel like at this point, like, it's the Tomb Raider one first, and then the Devil May Cry one comes out, right?
Yes.
Okay. I've kind of lost the fucking sauce in the timeline for that shit because it's been shifted so much. So I want to make sure.
And there's so many current projects, it's like hard to keep up with, anyways.
I like the whole idea of Adi Shankar's bootleg universe in general. I find him an intriguing person. He's clearly a fan of a lot of different games, and all of these kind of being backed by his mindset and studio is really
wasn't
intriguing.
he also the person who made Castlevania?
Yes, he was.
Yes. I think he's a fucking genius. Have you seen his tour in his house?
I have not.
He is this edgy, everything is red and black goth guy. And it's clearly visible in all of his projects. Castlevania, Devil May Cry. He wants to do Berserk series. He made a tribute to Berserk in the last season of Castlevania, after all.
Yeah,
And he's talking about he wants to skip everything he wants to start after Golden Age, and he's like really huge fan of Berserk, and you can feel that. And I just love him as a person.
I think if anybody could pull off that project, it would be him. And
he proved he can do the action already.
Yes, because he followed like the actual style of the action in Castlevania. Like, he's very clearly inspired by that style. He's obviously like a big fan of it, but it's very difficult to navigate that license now that Miora's dead.
Especially since he wanted to animate the Lost Children's arc.
Mm-hmm.
An arc it was always, but never got an anime adaptation. Not even in the 16-17. They skipped the Lost Children's arc.
Exactly.
For reasons people know who read that arc.
Yeah,
that is my favorite arc.
It's never going to get adapted, I don't figure.
I'll just say you will have that arc had like children's in elf forms, but still children's play war where they killed and raped each other. Like that arc was not animated for both such reasons, and he wants to animate that shit. He will never get that allowed by Netflix.
No, there's a line, and that would cross it for Netflix. And I say that not liking a lot of the stuff that they've put out.
I mean, even Miura had that line drawn for himself after that arc. It was never as dark as that thing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that arc also created a lot of preconceived notions about the series because of the content in there.
It was my favorite arc. Makes sense if you know me.
But like, there's also like Goblin Slayer getting fully adapted, it seems like, and it has similar grimdark qualities, so who knows?
Oh, let's be real. Goblin Slayer had one dark scene that was the beginning. After that, it literally became generic and 101.
There's a lot of darker stuff in it as well, more in the manga, but like
I disagree. I'm caught up. I would disagree.
It's not as gritty as Berserk can get, though.
No, I think even Goblin Slayer, the start of Goblin Slayer was like the darkest it got. Maybe because it was like the most explicit shown.
It got you like talking about it from the beginning. It was a hook, kind of like Promised Neverland had like the child death scene right at the first chapter.
But like this is not gaming anymore. In other words, we're already going on different topics that are not game related. In other words, we should stop.
But like that's topics for now. We'll be back in like a month with more. Hopefully Party James is more free there, so he can hop in and have like a take on some of these if he wants to. But this was fun.
And this was fun. And don't worry, my friends, we will play the Terraria board game. We don't know how we play it online, but we will find a way to play it online.
I'm sure it will have a tabletop sim version at some point.
I need to write Red Digit. He me our Twitter friends to make 2 licenses for a tabletop simulator, and then we will play it and review it because I'm a huge Terraria fan. See you guys.
See you later.